Hi everyone, welcome back to Plum Mashable. So I have been teasing this video for a while. I've been very excited to try the new Minc toner ink from Heidi Swapp. Finally got my hands on some, so let's have a bit of a play. Alright, so yay! It's here! I did get this from Spotlight. It's not on the website. I'm going to make that one. It's not the easiest thing to find. Basically, I've called every Spotlight in Victoria for the last month trying to get my hands on this. I finally did. It's from the Essendon store. I think now I've actually thrown my receipt away because I've had this for about 2 weeks. I think it cost me about $8 a bottle-ish, something like that. And it is a 2 fluid ounce or a 60ml, 59.2ml bottle of ink. Now this is going to be enough to kind of do a lot of projects. You don't have to do, you won't use 60 mils in one go. So it is you're going to use like a lot of it before you run out. So that is a plus side. I also got the ink pad. Now this is a little not plastic, kind of feels like memory foam ink pad in here. And of course it is empty because you pour the ink onto the ink pad. Now this is the part of this that I'm not impressed with, and which is why I wasn't 100% on board with this, and then Tim Holtz blew my mind with his idea to use a Brayer. So I want to do a bit of a comparison between using the actual ink pad and using a Brayer and sees what gets better results. So the way you're supposed to use this, the way it's been designed to use this, that's really loud and annoying, is that you pour, I think it's 10 ml of this onto your ink pad, use it up, and then you throw this ink pad away. Now to me that's very wasteful, and you can get replacement ink pads like this. You don't have to buy the plastic bit every time. But from what I've learnt, Spotlight isn't going to stock these. So I'm not quite sure where I'm going to get them from. I think Sassy Scrapper is going to get hold of these as well. So I might get them from there, depending on which works better, of course. And you only have like 2 hours or 3 hours to use this. So this video is going to be a lot of me doing experiments fast and trying to get the stuff done on camera, but you might see some things at the end that I didn't do on camera because I actually sat and played with this for a little bit longer afterwards. The other way that has kind of been discovered that you can use this ink is from Tim Holtz. He was doing a demo with Heidi Swapp a couple of weeks ago, and it just blew my mind. And he uses a Brayer to put the ink on. So he puts it on his little plastic mat thing here, picks it up, rolls it on, and stamps. So what I'm going to do is I have 7 different kinds of stamps sitting here, and we're going to have a go with all 7 using the ink pad and using the Brayer and see what we get better results out of. This is just me playing. This is nothing too exciting, nothing too worried about. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to foil all of this at the end. So I'm going to stamp it, put it up on top of my desk here, and then we're going to foil it all at once. From what I have learnt by watching that Heidi Swapp video, this lasts forever. So if I stamped it all and put it away and didn't touch it for 6 months and then put it through the foiler, it would work. So I'm not panicking too much about making sure it's done straight away. It does need a little bit of time to dry as well, I think. So in that respect, we'll go with that. But I am going to do all the ones on the ink pad first. Now I have had a bit of an experiment already with the Brayer. I haven't touched the ink pad yet because I didn't want to waste it. I wanted to show it on camera. So, see if I can remember how much ink I put on here. 15 mils of toner ink. So, take the little bottle off, lid off the bottle. Now there is another little stopper in here just so that it doesn't go everywhere. So I just pull it out with the tweezers. And then we use the little refill bottle to fill this up with 15 mils. So that's 10. Drip. Come on. I don't want it all over my desk. So then we pour it onto the ink pad. Please stay on the ink pad. See that part alone kind of bugs me, that whoops, there we go, I went and spilled it. That you're going to have some sitting on the side here. I can't even see where the 5 is. There you go. So that is soaking into the ink pad. just going to put that up on the corner there. Put the lid back on the ink for now, because we'll come back and do all the stuff with the brayer afterwards. So I'm just letting that soak in. I'm just going to grab a bit of tissue, just tidy that bit up there that I dropped. Okay, so other things I do know that is in this Minc collection. There is also a Minc cleaner. So it's a cleaner, obviously, that cleans all this off your stamps, because it is going to be really sticky, and you're going to hear a lot of stick noises soon enough. Spotlight's not going to stop that either. I know that's a little bit mad. What I have found out though is you just need a solvent cleaner. So if you have Stays On cleaner, that'll do the job. So I've thankfully got some, so that'll clean everything off that I need to do. Alright, so like I said, I have a bunch of card backs sitting here that I'm going to sort of use to stamp all these out, and I have a bunch of stamps off here to the side that I've kind of picked out because they're all a little bit different. So I've got some Planners Anonymous stamps, and I've deliberately picked ones that have like a solid and then something a little bit more intricate because we'll do both. I have a Kaiser Craft background stamp that I really want to try, and then I've got some more solid Kaiser Crafts. I've got that Neat and Tangled Dreams Do Come True stamps. I think that'll look really nice foiled. And then I want to try something a little bit intricate from Lawn Fawn, so I'm going to try this big, or maybe the small balloon. I want to try the solid stamp from Lawn Fawn, and then I want to try some of these letters. So that's sort of my 7 things I'm going to give a shot. And like I said, I'm going to try all of the from the ink pad first, and then I'll try all with the brayer. So 4 Planners Anonymous, and I do have these written. I was going to write them on the back, but I didn't. I think I did with the brayer. I'm just going to grab this one and then one of these little roses ones. Okay. I'm very nervous right now because I'm not sure how this ink pad is going to sort of react. I haven't tried this at all. Oh, okay, that's not. I thought it was going to be really solid and annoying, but it's not. No, it's okay. All right. So I've got a decent coverage on there. It's not great, but it's decent. And we'll just stamp this down. So it does stick a little. It is sticky. Let me give this another shot. I want to try and get that a bit more solid. It is sticky. You don't want to sort of hold this down for a really long time because I feel like that's going to sort of destroy it. Okay, so let's try that again. Still not getting the coverage I want, but anyway. And then I'm just going to try these little flowers as well. Now I'm going to clean all of my stamps off as we go, like as we flick between the 2 ones. So I'm just going to speed through all of that, so there'll just always be a bit of a break in between. Okay, so we've got the roses. Now the other thing that I do remember really solidly from what Tim and Heidi were saying is you can't go into this expecting it to be a perfect foil. You kind of have to be happy to accept a little bit of imperfection. So I'm going in with that mindset as well, and just kind of keeping my mind open as much as I can. So I'm just going to put the lid on it just while I clean up that stamp, those couple of stamps, and I'll do a zoom so you can see sort of how this is actually finished up, and I'll be right back. Alright, so I've got all of that cleaned off. I will, the next time when I clean this one, I will show you guys how I clean it, because I just realised that's probably just as important for you to see. So this one's the Neat and Tangled one. So again, I'm just pushing that into the ink pad. I'm just being a little bit less forceful, I guess. I'm not pushing it into the ink pad quite as hard, just because I did find it got really into the crevices of that last stamp, and it's harder to clean. So I'm just gonna be a little bit softer. Oh, that's a good impression. That's good. So I'm gonna do 2 just because I can. Just make sure I've got that everywhere. See, I've pushed a little harder this time, and now it's kind of got into the crevices. And I'm interested if that then doesn't give me such a good impression, because I don't think it will. Yeah, see, it's a little bit. So I find the less pressure you can put on this, the better. So I'm just going to put that up to the side, up to the top. So just grab my Stays On cleaner. This has a little kind of felt thing on the top, which I've basically destroyed already, but it does the job. And then I'm just using microfiber cloth, but you could use baby wipes or a towel or a paper towel or something. I just find microfiber is easy because I can scrub a bit easier, it doesn't fall apart. That's actually come up pretty clean. My Planners Anonymous did not come up that clean. Just to show you. It's still got just a little bit of black in there, but that's alright. All stamps stain a little bit. It's alright, we've got that one. So now we're going to move on to the Kaisercraft one. So I don't expect Kaisercraft to perform as well as some of the other stamps, but that's okay. That's why we have different kinds of stamps. I want to try this little light bulb. I want to try these. And I want to try a solid, this one. So I'm just going to have these on different ink blocks this time. So same thing, I'm going to push very lightly because I don't want it to get, I am kind of making sure it's covered though. Not quite. I don't like the way this ink pad kind of moves around. That's kind of annoying me. Now I'm pushing really hard on this one because I want to get that debossed impression, which I don't think I'm going to get. Not quite. Okay. Try again. Yeah, no, I don't like that one. Righto, we've learnt that one. We'll grab these little arrows. We'll get the little light bulb. Now the little light bulb has a little debossed, I said little a lot, debossed thing in here as well. So I just want to try and get the imprint as best I can. So I'm going to use the exact same ones again when we do the Brayer. Oh, that's not too bad. And that way I can give you guys sort of like the best, what's the word I'm looking for? The best comparison between the two, because I want it to be not necessarily a comparison video. Like this is more of a we're experimenting and seeing what happens video, but I do want to be able to do the comparisons. So I'm just going to really quickly clean these off and we'll come back and we'll try the next one. Alright, so this next one I think will be a little bit complicated on the ink pad, but I want to give it all a go. So this is a really big background stamp. Now obviously I don't need the whole of it stamped anyway, covered anyway, because it's not going to cover my bit of paper. So I'm just going to do a bit of the middle stuff, and again just touching that in lightly, not pushing down too hard. This one I think will look really good even if it's not perfect, because it's got that kind of oldie style scripty thing going anyway. So this one's obviously only going to be one. Just looking where that doesn't look like it's got a lot of ink. There we go. Just pushing that down. I'm being a bit more solid with that one. Ooh. Okay, I almost don't care. That's gonna look amazing. That one's gonna look freaking awesome. I don't even. That's just. Oh. See, but I love this stamp just plain black. Like it doesn't even need to be foiled, but it's just gonna add something to it. This one. All right, so we're gonna clean this one off. It really is easy to clean and they come up really well. So that's a plus. All right, so we only got 3 left. So the next one's going to be the Lawn Fawn letters. Now these are Quinn's ABCs, and I've deliberately picked one that's slightly bigger so that you get a better look at it. But obviously alpha letters can be lots of different sizes. I'm just going to write hello because to me that seems a lot easier. Oh no, I'm not, because hello's got 2 L's. Yes, we'll do smile, that works. I'm just trying to line these up as best I can, but I'm not being particularly careful with them. I'm half tempted to grab out a slightly smaller set of alpha stamps and just see what they look like as well. Yeah, I will. I'll grab them out in a sec. So we'll do alphas, we'll do 2 different kinds. So again, not pushing particularly hard there. And then one. Ooh, I'm going to do 2 just because I can. And then we'll grab those other alphas out. So those ones were Quinn's. These are Milo's. These are both Denise's. I've borrowed these. She did give me permission to do this too, so thank you, Denise. So I'm just going to write smile in this one as well because we're doing that. Going with that word at the moment. And I think with any kind of new product, like this is definitely a new product. I don't think there's ever been anything quite like this on the market. I think that's the key. Play. Get everything out, have a shot, see what happens. Ooh, that's cool. What's the worst you can do? If you just have an afternoon where you pull this out, the only thing I'm going to have wasted after today is just this one ink pad. And honestly, I think the Brayer is going to work better anyway. That's my opinion. I don't know yet. So we'll just wait and see. If that's all I've wasted, I'm okay with that. All right. So this one I'm actually going to try. I'm going to try the solid, the regular. I do want to try character. Whoops. And then maybe one of the little quotes as well. So every stamp is different, and that's why I'm trying the solid and the lines and something a bit different. So the Lawn Fawn solid may be different to the Kaisercraft solid. So it's just, that's what I'm trying to show here, just so you guys don't get confused and be like, why is she doing this? That makes no sense. This is staying really wet, really like a really long time. Although it's not coming onto the stamp so much the second time, which is a bit weird. Be interested to see how that actually ends up. Gonna learn lots today. I'm gonna do the outline one as well, so just not pushing quite as hard. It does have a bit of resistance. Like, I think that's the best word for it. Like, when you pull that up, it does feel like it's trying to hold on just a little bit more than I guess a normal ink pad would, and that's because this has got a lot of stick to it. So that does make sense. Oh, that's so cute. We're gonna have little foiled penguins. And I'm just going to try the words as well. So I'm just going to do this big happy holidays. Just to see how the sentiments come out. And it was a very light push. I'm just going to push a little harder for this. Oh, that was way too hard. Yuck. Oh well. Giving it a shot. I'm actually surprised at how wet that's staying, which I'm then going to make a big old mess by dropping it in there. One of these days my mat's going to break and I'm going to not be happy. There we go. My hands are obviously getting all sticky. Denise did suggest that perhaps I use gloves, and I don't think that's a bad suggestion. But I don't mind getting my hands all messy. I find it fun. Ugh. It's giving my stamp box a nice clean at the same time. So I'm just going to finish cleaning these off. Okay, so the last one here is this balloon kind of one. I'm starting to run out of acrylic blocks. I just really want to leave the big one. Oh no, right. I was gonna say I want to leave the big one for the background stamp, but I won't. So I want to get the big balloon, and I also just want to put one of the sentiments on here as well, just to see how it goes. Pushed too hard there, I can tell already. I'm going to try something else in a sec, just hold on. Okay. That's not too bad. I just want to pull this out of the little container. I think the container is good to store it, but it's kind of, trying to keep it in there is kind of annoying me. So. Although this isn't much better. So I'm going to go upside down. Okay, I won't do a sentiment because I don't have enough room on my cardboard. That's a bit better. Okay. I do have a bit of spare cardboard sitting here, so I will. I'll just grab this one here that just says the sky's the limit. I'm just going to stick a star on there too because I can. I'm just trying not to push too hard. I think I've already pushed too hard. No, that's not too bad. Try one more, just being really gentle. Trying to make it as even an impression as I can. Really difficult with this size of a block, but it's alright. That's a bit better. Alright, so that's everything with the ink pad. All I'm going to do is put the ink pad back in its little container for now. I'm hoping I can grab this out again after we've done all the stuff with the Brayer and see how it looks. So I'm just going to clean this up and then I'll be right back and we'll have to play with the Brayer. Alright, so for the brayer, I'm going to work backwards a little bit. I'm going to kind of go with the lawn fawn stuff because it's already out. Now the brayer I got from Arts and Crafts Supplies. You can get it from lots of different places though. This is the Ranger small brayer. As you can see, I have used it a little bit already. It's a good one because you can kind of use it that way, and then you can sit it down and it doesn't sit on the mat. Tim Holtz recommended, that's all I can say. Now the other thing that Tim did that I am working on is using a little dropper to get the ink out of the bottle. So instead of having to pour it, which is what I'm about to do, he uses a little dropper. I just haven't quite got my hands on one yet. Ryan's organising it, it's coming, but I haven't got it yet. So I'm just going to pour this out onto my mat. Now this is the sticky protective sheet, silicone sheet that comes with the glass mat. I don't use it particularly often, which is why it's rolled up at the sides. I'm working on how to fix that. But it does clean up really, really easily. So I'm just going to pour just a little bit onto the mat. And then with the brayer, just kind of spread it out. And then I'm just trying to get this to roll. Now I'm really not, I haven't learned how to use a brayer properly yet. So I'm just trying to coat the brayer with the ink, and then we can kind of roll onto this. So I'm just going to roll this onto the stamp. Just trying to get a nice kind of coating. This is obviously a little bit more complicated, but I'm interested to see if it's a better result. Now I've just realised that that's, oh no, it is going to fit. So I'm just going to do one for this one. Okay, well that doesn't give me as nice an impression already. So for, it did for the balloon, didn't for the words. Didn't for the words, but it's okay. So same thing I did before. I'm just going to clean this up quickly between each one. I'm going to work a little faster for this one. Actually, yeah, no, I don't want it to get, I'm just going to put the cleaner on it. I'm just not going to wipe it off. So I don't need, oh well, I will need this one in a minute, but because I do need to work a little bit quicker because I want to work before the ink dries. So then we'll move on to the solid, or for the lawn fawn alphas, sorry. So do the same thing, just rolling the ink on. Oops. Well, that's not too bad. Just going to give it another shot with just a little bit more ink. Now I find that the harder you press, the more ink you get on there, which means I think you're going to get a worse impression. So you almost want to be sparing with it. Yeah, see, that does that. So I'm being really light with that. I just want to try this. I don't know, I have no idea. I'm just going to tap that into the ink that's on there. I'm just going to put this at the bottom. I just realised my e's around the wrong way. That actually doesn't look too bad. I'm going to try that one more time. I'm just going to do another quick little tap. And I'll try one more with the brayer. It's got way too much ink. I'm just going to actually stamp that down a couple of times on my little sheet. Alright, I think I'm quickly learning that the intricate stuff's not going to be quite as perfect on here. Not as perfect. Remember to do that. Alright, so I'm going to clean both of these off. I don't want to leave them too long. Alright, so I'm going to have a shot with the Planners Anonymous ones now. We'll grab these two back in, the ones we used. So like I said, trying to keep it as fair and even across the board as I can. This ink's doing really well. It's not drying out at all. And according to what Tim said, you'll know when it's drying out because you'll hear it. You'll hear it get a bit sticky. Now I'm already thinking that that's too much ink, so I'm going to push this really lightly. It's just going to end up as a big black blob. Second time's better. That one worked much better when I've got less ink on it. So, I'm just going to get rid of some of this ink. try that again with just a little bit less ink on the brayer. So I'm just trying to make it as an even kind of coating. Still not quite what I want, but better than the first blob. I'm going to do the same thing with the flowers, so I'm just going in with a gentle amount of ink there. There's not a lot on the brayer. Just trying to get an even coat. I want to try picking it up off the mat like an ink pad, except for the fact that I pushed a bit hard. That's actually worked out really well. And try that one more time. Just going to push a little bit less hard this time. Yeah, you can do such a good job there. Anyway, we'll see how that one goes. Like I said, this ink's doing okay as long as you're alright with a bit of mess. You don't have to work as fast as I thought I had to. There you go. Words. Think I thought I had to. Now, just in heads up, you could obviously use your stamp positioning tool for any of this if you don't have like such a big acrylic block. You don't have to use acrylic blocks. Just trying to get a bit of that off because I think I've got too much. Alright, so I'm just going to roll this on. It's too much, I can already tell. So I'm just going to try and get rid of those big blocks by just rolling across it a bit more. Now I'm also just going to grab a piece of paper up just so that I don't get this all over my work surface. I'm sure it would be fine, but I just don't want to. Stamp that down. One big push. Oh, that's a great stamp. That one's, whoa, no, don't do that. Oh, phew. That's worked out really well. That's really nice. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the best foil we get for the whole day. Be interesting to see. Now what I should have done here is kept stamping that before I put the cleaner on, but yeah, not so bright. Just to see what the second and third generation would have looked like, and I might come back and do that afterwards. Because I am aware that this video is going to be a very long one no matter what I do. So I'm trying to make it as quick for you guys as I can, so you don't have to sort of sit through all of it. Alright, that's the Neat and Tangled. I have got written on the back just so I know which is what. So I'm just going to go ahead and do the last three really fast. So you're obviously still here with me. You can still watch along, but I'm just going to do it without talking. I said I was going to do this really fast, so I just want you guys to hear this. Can you hear? That's what happens when the ink starts to dry a little bit. Now, it's still really easy to work with. In fact, I'm going to go as far as saying that it's actually easier to work with the brayer once it gets a bit sticky, because you get cleaner lines or a cleaner transfer. But just so you know what that sounds like. And according to what Tim said the other day, you can then just add some more ink on here to kind of keep it wet. So you just add a little bit more ink and it will sort of reactivate the stuff underneath it. So I'll have a shot at that in a sec. And try and use it for as long as I can before it completely dries up. Quite possibly the best impression I've done all day, and that came from nearly dry. So there we go. We're learning things, guys. Sometimes it's better to do it a little bit wetter, a little bit drier, sorry, not wetter. All right, last ones. it's not going to be 100% a comparison because we've learnt stuff along the way. Right, where'd that planner's anonymous go? I just want this to get the best go it can, because I think there's a lot in the Planners Anonymous stuff that will look really, really pretty with a bit of foil. And I need another reason to use my PA stamps because I don't use them as often as I should. This is where the dropper will be fantastic. Ooh! That's perfect! I'll be interested to see how that comes out when we actually get it foiled done, if it's got less foil where there's less ink. I'm just going to do one more of these. Just trying to pick up this ink. Alright. That hasn't got anywhere near as much, but that's alright. Alright. I've now got a mess. I've got a very large mess. I'm going to tidy all this up. I'm going to turn the foiler on and we're going to be able to put all these through the foiling machine. I'm going to show you putting it through the foiling machine at least once, but it's not, you guys have seen it plenty of times before, it's not exciting. So I'm going to clean it all up, work out the foiling, and I'll be right back. Alright, I just want to show you guys this really quickly. All I'm going to do with the ink that's on here, I'm just going to put a little bit of the cleaner on here. Just making it wet, basically. I'm not panicking too much with the Brayer because according to Tim, the ink's actually good to be on there. This is going to be one very dirty cloth once we're done. So just giving that a little bit of a brush off just to try and get some of the big build-ups off. And then with this, this is where we're going to make a mess. Thankfully this can all go in the wash, so it's okay. But look at this. Okay, I'm going to have to use more than one. Well, I'd probably suggest using paper towel as opposed to my microfiber cloth here, but this one's about to go in the wash anyway, so I think it's okay. I'm just trying to break up that wet stuff. It looks like I've been working in a garage, doesn't it? But that's coming off without too much of a problem. Like there's a bit of elbow grease here, but this stuff's been on there for a while, so I'm not worried. That's coming off without too much of a problem. Just gonna leave it like that for now. It doesn't have to be perfect. If you do get some in on your glass mat, same thing, just wipe it off with the cloth, it'll be fine. Alright, so now the cleanup's done. I'm just going to go wash my hands and put this in the washing machine, and I'll be right back. Alright, so I've got a bunch of foil all over all of these. I'm just going to run these through the Minc, and we're going to be right back. Now, the one little thing I want to put on this is all Minc foil. I've deliberately used... There we go, it's ready. I've deliberately used Minc foil because I want to get the best results possible, and I feel like for this one, better to stick with Minc foil. But I will do another video a little bit later on if you guys are interested in trying the other kinds of foil with this ink. But just for now, we're going to stick with the Minc foil. Oh, also, I'm just going to let you know, I've got the Minc set on setting 4. It's the second highest one. I could go up to 5. I just think 4 is a really nice middle spot for this. So I'm going to go with 4 for now. Alright, so everything's gone through the foiler. Oh, this is the best part. Alright, I'm hopefully going to remember what each of these are as we go along. Anything that's not written was with the stamp pad. So this was, and this one's come off a little so I can kind of see it, so I'm a little excited. This was using the ink pad, and this was the quote from the Lawn Fawn set. Now, you can't see it, you won't be able to see it there, but you'll be able to see it when I put in a zoom. It's kind of done like an outline thing. So it's not, the whole thing's not foil, but you still get the foil effect. And it hasn't come all the way over here, but that's alright. So again, learning. I tried to use different colours of foil for each one, so I'm not quite sure what's coming up. This is the Planners Anonymous stuff using the stamp pad. Oh, come on. So it's done the same sort of thing. It's not a full foil, like it's not a full effect there, but the effect on the flowers is really pretty. And again, you guys will see all this when I put the zooms in. I really like the effect on the flowers. That's actually turned out really pretty. I like that. Liking this so far. Nothing bad here. Actually, I'm going to put anything that's a Brayer, I'm going to put last. Because I want to do all of the stamp pad stuff first. So this was the... This was the background stamp that's got that really nice writing. Now, it's done a bit of the same thing. It's kind of done an outline thing on some of these, but again, the effect is still there. You still get that glisten of the foil. Oh, how good's that? Loving. This would have been... Oh no, that's the Brayer as well, so we'll come back to that. Whoops. So this was the Lawn Fawn stuff. So we're going to see the solid and then the little critters. I have a feeling it's going to do the same sort of thing. Kind of do the outline of it. Yeah. And that's done just the outline. So maybe there's not enough ink on there. So it's worked really well for this one, but the solid one, it hasn't worked very well for at all. There is a teensy little bit of gold transfer here. I get that question a lot. Why does that come up? I think it comes up because it's too hot. That's my opinion. I'm not 100% sure on that. Oh, I like the spots. But it's very subtle on this one, so it's not so bad. Yeah, I don't think it works quite so well there. What's we got here? Oh, so this was the letters. Ooh. So for the big letters, it's done a bit the same. It's kind of got like an outline. It's not a solid foil, but it still looks cool. Can you see how that's picking up the different colours? Because that was an ombre foil. Oh. But it's worked really nicely with the smaller ones. Again, not quite all of it, but you still get the effect. Alright, what have we got here? Oh, this is the Neat and Tangled. Oh, I was really hoping that was going to work out nicer than that. So yeah, the stamp pad so far is not giving me what I wanted it to. It's very outliney, very hit and miss. I kind of feel like I'm not getting enough foil on it. That's the Brayer. These are the balloons. See, that's better. That's a bit better. Not 100%. This one's much better. This one's not. Yeah. It's hit and miss. And again, if you remember what I said about what Tim said, that if you take the good with the bad, like you don't get too annoyed about the fact that it's not perfect, this is going to be so much more fun for you. Oh, jeez, that's horrible. Alright, that's barely worked. That's probably the worst of them all. And even then, I still like the way that sits. I don't know why. That's the foiling I like, not the effect. And that's Kaiser Craft, and that's okay. All right. So that's all of the ones we did with the stamp pad. I reckon so far, the only one that's worked out to a point that I'm really, really happy is the Kaiser Craft one. The rest of them are okay, but they're very hit and miss. So, and they're very, it's just that I haven't got an even coverage, I think. So I'll be interested to see if the Brayer gives us a better result. So, start off with the Neat and Tangled, please, because I love this stamp so much. Oh yeah, that's it, baby. Oh, the Brayer's the better way to go. That's perfect. That is absolutely perfect. Oh, I love that. I'm so gonna have to make a card out of these because these are just gorgeous. I love that so much. So yeah, the Brayer. I'll do these as side by side comparisons as well because it's just there is no comparison. The Brayer just kills it. The Brayer just kills it. So this was the Kaiser Craft. Oh. These are the Kaiser Craft solid stamps that we did. And these are so, again, they're not 100% perfect, but if you get over it, which I'm going to get over it, they are beautiful. I love that so much. Oh, and yeah, spits all over it. So good. You guys know which one I'm going to leave for last, right? So I'm just not even gonna, when we get to that, I'm going to skip it. So this was the Lawn Fawn one. Again, much better. Not perfect, but much, much better. Definitely haven't got the outlining thing happening on these ones. And yeah, no comparison really. I think the solid ones don't work as well. I think solid is not the right thing for this because it highlights the imperfections a little bit more. I'll leave the script for last. This was the words, the letters, sorry. And I kind of knew that one wasn't going to work so well because it went a bit hard. But I feel like I could get better with if you did the slightly drier ink like we did with the Kaisercraft one, that'll actually work out really nicely. And what's also interesting is the ones where we did the impression on the pad, like just when it was the ink on the pad, that actually worked really well as well. So I think either will work for those ones, but I think the Brayer still comes out a bit better. What have we got here? Oh, these are the balloons. The balloon. Yeah. And that one hasn't worked, I don't think, because we did that with that really wet ink. I think you've got to leave it for a bit to kind of dry off. And that's maybe, I was trying to go too fast because that one's better with the stamp pad. But yeah, I know what I did wrong here, so I think that's okay. Oh, these were the Planners Anonymous ones with the slightly drier ink. And then these were the Planners Anonymous ones with the very wet ink. Oh, come on. It's stuck. It's not stuck, I just can't get my finger underneath it. Here we go. So it's a better foil with the wet, but you don't get as much detail. So I think by waiting and having less detail, but again, that's with the solid thing. I think the solid is going to show up too much of what's wrong. Whereas if you have a look here, get this off because it's annoying. If you have a look at the flowers, even though they're not perfect, you can't tell as much because they are so intricate. I think the intricacies are where this is fantastic, and that's why I think this one's going to have worked out really beautifully. Oh yeah, that's stunning. That's stunning. There are going to be some amazing background stamps that are just going to be absolutely perfect for this. Oh, I love that so much. Yeah, so doing that. Oh, okay. The Brayer wins. The Brayer wins really comfortably to me. I don't think I need to, it's even a competition. I think the Brayer is a much easier way to do it, but I think you need to wait. If you do it with a really wet ink, it's not going to quite work so well. You've got to wait till it dries and becomes just a little bit tacky. So the drier you can leave it, the better it will be for you. But they're just beautiful. They're just beautiful. Even the ones that haven't worked out particularly fantastically are so beautiful. And this is just such a good way. If you've got a lot of stamps, if you've got a lot of background stamps especially, but if you've got a lot of simple stamps, I think these are going to look really nice. Try not to use the solids. I think solids aren't going to work quite as nicely. That said, this was a solid one and it has worked out really well. So I think practice, and I'm going to hark back to what Tim said. I'm actually going to link the video if I can find it. I think it was on Facebook, so if I can find it, I will link it down below and you guys can watch it because it is amazing. The amount of tips that came out of that video just blew my mind. But if you can get over the need for it to be perfect, I think you're going to enjoy this a lot more. If you can use the inequality, I guess, of how they transfer, it'll really help you sort of love this a lot more. So I'm so glad I waited. I'm so glad I got this. I've used probably about a third of the bottle, maybe, in just using this today. I've still got plenty of ink, so I'm going to actually sit here and play for a little bit longer once I turn the cameras off. And I'll put anything that I have done, I'll do a quick scan of it now. If I have done anything else, I've got some bits that I did before as well, so I'll put them up. But I'm really happy. I think this is a fantastic new product. I think it's really good to try for, especially those sort of bits of cards, not the vintage cards so much as the distress, like, and again, I'm borrowing from Tim, the distress kind of look. If you want to add a bit of foil that way, I think this is going to look really pretty. But there's just so much you can do with the Minc foil now. Like, you can print it, you can stamp it, you can use the texture paste. There is also this cool reactive mist, which I'm not going to show you guys today, but I'll show you very quickly an insert of something I have played with. There's just so much now that you can do with Minc toner, and I think that's a really cool way, or cool addition to the range, and it makes it much more useful in your card making and crafting in general. So that is it for today's kind of video, kind of experimenting video. If you want to see more experiments, if we want to see maybe, now that we know the Brayer is the way to go, do we want to try using stamps, like using the Minc ink on on acetate, on vellum, on all those kinds of things, see what we get. If we want to see the different kinds of foil, see what we get, please leave that down below and I'll make sure to do that video for you really, really soon. Don't forget to be subscribed so you don't miss that video when it goes up or anything else. I hope you have an absolutely fantastic, fantastic day, whatever you're doing, and I'll see you again in my next video. Sending lots of huggles!